Hey everybody, I'm Christina Roberts. I am very, very excited to be here with one of my heroes and biggest inspirations, Mr. Barney Slice. A lot of you know Barney and his work here locally. He's inspired many and astounded everybody with his amazing talents. And I get the honor of meeting him today and getting to watch him in his process. And already today we've had some great discussions and he has taught me so much. And wow, you guys are just not going to believe this man's talent. So welcome to episode 8 of Meet the Peeps with Mr. Barney Slice, who is one of my most favorite people in the area. So Barney, please tell me, what is one of your biggest inspirations when you're doing your work?
I think just nature. You know, that in nature, you cannot go wrong with
Right.
nature. It's God's world, and He made it beautiful. And I like to take ordinary scenes and make extraordinary scenes out of them on canvas. I take a lot of my own photographs and so forth.
So you do a lot of your work from your photographs that you take out in nature.
Yes, and I use photographs, and sometimes I download a photograph as an idea, not to copy, but as an idea.
Right.
So it always inspires me when I see a particular photograph, something flashes in my mind and I'm ready to paint it.
That's just amazing. I know you were telling me a little bit about lighting, and you were saying one of the most important things to do is before you started a piece was to find out where your light source was coming from. That was very inspired, that comment. And so you also teach as well, correct?
Yeah, I taught art for 50 years off and on.
Wow, that's amazing.
The last time was 13 years at Coastal Carolina in the Olive Program.
That's very cool.
So I really enjoyed teaching, but I'm kind of burned out on it right now. I have difficulty standing for a long time. And so I just enjoy painting right now.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It's always good therapy, is it not?
Oh, yes.
To get yourself into a nice, good painting.
It helps when in this crazy world, it helps you center your life because you actually go into the painting itself. You have to put yourself in there. Where does this go? Where does that go? What does this look like? How is the light shining on this particular object? What textures are in the picture? What is the center point? Where's the light coming from?
Right.
And so forth. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was noticing you're starting your work today with a black canvas.
Yes, I love to work from a black canvas. In fact, they make a special gesso for painting your canvas black, or you can buy black canvases, which I do frequently. I love to work from it because black is actually the basis of nature. If you look at the woods, the background is black and everything else is built on top of it. So when you start with black, you're starting at a natural color. Now, I'm going to be starting with the sky because I always paint the furthest point back. And I've been doing this. This is my 68th year. When I started painting, actually was in high school, but I started drawing. My mom died when I was 7, so I didn't get any comments from her. But my grandmother told me that when I was old enough to hold a pencil, I could draw. I was drawing pictures out of magazines on any kind of scrap of paper I could find. So as I progressed, I came into started in oil painting. I loved oils, and that was what was introduced to me in high school in Columbia, South Carolina, where I was born and raised. And I had a teacher there who saw what I had in me, art talent, and he particularly spent some time with me. He encouraged me. He favored me a little bit, so to speak, and gave me extra time. And I made straight A's, thank goodness. But anyway, as I got out into the world, I had to earn a living, and I couldn't do it through art. So I went to work with a major company, retail company, and spent 31 years with them. But while I was doing that, I was teaching at night and Saturdays and days off and things like that. And gradually as I retired. When I retired from my job in 1991,
Oh, wow.
and I spent the next 13 years painting murals in schools across the
Did you really?
Carolinas.
That's fascinating. How cool is that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I wonder if they're all there still.
95% of them are still
I
there.
mean, I don't know why you would ever
I
remove
did
them.
the equivalent of 50 miles of walls,
Wow.
12 feet high, 50 miles long, in over 100 schools across the
Oh my
Carolinas.
goodness, that's
And
amazing.
that was more fun working with the kids.
Yeah, I bet.
About 300,000 kids and about 30,000 teachers and staff.
That's unbelievable. I can't even
Yeah,
imagine the amount of children that have gone through those schools that you have really inspired, you know?
yeah,
I mean, you put it in their brains, I'm sure, and many children, like, wow.
yeah. I hate to give it up, but for a while, every day I got off, it felt like I had an ice pick in my shoulder,
Right.
and I had an MRI, and the doctor said, "I got good news and bad news."
Right.
I said, "Okay, give me the bad news first." He said, "Your mural career is over. You can't paint anymore." And I said, "Okay, what's the good news?" He said, "You're 62 years old and you can draw Social Security." So,
That is a definite plus.
yeah. In 1960, I had just got out off of active duty in the Marine Corps, and I didn't have a job, so I went to work for a trailer company, putting the top back on the tractor trailers when they went under an overpass and peel it off. And it was a terrible job, $1 an hour, and the man took no taxes, and I knew he was going to be in trouble. Well, a friend of mine was in the Marine Corps Reserve with me, and he said that there was a job opening at Sears in Columbia, and it was in the display department. And I had grown up in Columbia, where I was born and raised there. I had grown up in Columbia, and I knew the company very well. So I went and applied, and they hired me on the spot. And I spent 2.5 years. During that time, I got married, and I was walked in the boss's office one day. He called me in and said, "We're transferring you to Lynchburg, Virginia."
Oh, wow.
So I went to Lynchburg with my very pregnant wife and had 2 children up there. But I spent 6 years in Lynchburg. And while I was there, I was asked to do a mural in Jerry Falwell's church, Thomas Road Baptist Church in Lynchburg,
Wow.
Virginia. And it was the first mural I'd ever done. And it was a globe with a cross over it and so forth, I remember. Well, in 1968, I was transferred to Greenville, South Carolina. Came back to good old South Carolina. And when I got here, I joined a gallery, Tempo Art Gallery in there, and I started teaching. That was my first teaching experience. And so I taught off and on nights and 2 nights a week and then Saturdays and so forth. And over the years, I didn't do it continuously, but I taught over 50 years. And uh, I might have mentioned 13 years at Coastal Carolina in the Ollie program. I thoroughly enjoyed teaching. I love to see people that little light bulb come over in their
That
head,
is
so
so
to
cool.
speak,
Yeah, I love that.
when they suddenly realize I've got it.
Hmm.
I know what you're talking about.
Right.
I'm not, it's not a mystery anymore. I know what I'm doing. So that was always a lot of fun. And that was really the reward that I got when I was doing that.
Yeah, I can understand that completely.
So, but I taught about 12,500 students over the years. And many of them have gone on. One of them owns her own advertising company and so forth. But it was a really good career doing that. Physical things kept me from doing
Right.
what I need to do.
Right.
So,
Well, how long have you been here in Pawleys Island?
well, we lived in Greenville 30 years,
Wow.
and I left Sears at that time and went with doing the murals for 13 years. Well, during that 13 years, we moved here in 1998.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've been here. This is our 26th year, and it's also my 68th year of painting. So I'm getting where I can cover up all the numbers now. So I got a little painting here that I like to do. It's on black canvas, and it's a little scene that I've kind of made up. I want to start by putting a little bit of paint on here. This I'm using liquid acrylic paint on the black canvas, and the fan brush is really great for this. And you can see why it's called a fan brush. So I put work the colors in here a little bit. This is a great way to do it. Okay. Let me get my brush all messed up a little bit. Now, this looks kind of funny, but it actually works. You'll see later why I'm doing that. Okay. All right. I'll wash my brush out a little bit. And we'll start some greenery. Okay, let's see. Brush selection is very important when you're doing the work. I got one other color I need to get. Okay. You can ask me any questions.
Do you ever travel anywhere without your paints?
I hardly ever take them anymore. Now I used to take them.
So you just take the photos and bring them back, and you're inspired by those photos, and you relive those memories of those beautiful scenes, like that one painting you were telling me about earlier today.
Yes, I tell you what, the thing about it, I've gotten old. You'd think I'd be tired of painting. I cannot wait to get to my next painting. I mean, I love to paint.
I absolutely love that. Yeah.
And I think it shows in my work, but
it does for sure.
I do love to paint.
I can totally relate to that. I feel the exact same way. And then once I start a piece, I cannot wait to finish it.
Oh, yeah.
So I get very excited as I'm doing it because I see a little bit of this. I see a little bit of that. But it looks like you already have it painted in your mind.
Whenever you are when you're working in acrylics, you go from dark to light. So that's where I start working in.
It's just amazing how fast it comes together. I mean, I'm already seeing. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, we here at the gallery, we've been here just celebrated our 10th anniversary, and we're really proud of our gallery.
It's a beautiful gallery.
Yeah, we were just voted
best at the beach.
Best of the beach.
Yes, sir.
3rd year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, Barney, are you here every Friday?
Yes, I work as one of the owners. I put in my time minding the store, so to speak.
Right.
And I love to talk to people who come in here, and we get people from all over the United States in here. In fact, we get them from Hawaii, Alaska. You wouldn't believe how many different spots.
Sure. And you have your own back room full of a beautiful artwork, but you're so special. You have your own room in the back.
I'm the most prolific artist in the gallery, so I need 3 times as much space as anybody else.
Right, and also just very prolific and inspirational. I think pretty much every artist here in Pawleys Island. I mean, I can speak for myself, but I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people that admire your work and find a lot of inspiration from your work.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to switch over to a sponge now because I need that texture that I'm looking for in here. Pick up a little bit of bright yellow. And we continue to work in it. You have to keep rotating your sponge, because if you don't, you get a pattern.
I was going to say like a reticulated pattern of the same exact.
Now my light source is coming this way. So I've got to brighten these trees up, but leave these dark. So that's why I'm doing this. This sponge is not doing it for me, so I'm going to switch over to this one. Yeah, there we go. You want to get sponges that do I've got sponges that do all kinds of different things, so I think this one will work for me. Okay. Yeah, like I said, we want to brighten this end up right here. The sunlight shining on here, so you're going to have some brighter colors and so forth. Make some bushes and trees and mix a little bit of different greens.
That's just amazing.
You know what? Scientists say there's 30,000 different shades of green.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, sometimes I stare at the tree line and you can see so many different colors of green. And if you sit and look long enough, you're kind of in awe because you can't believe how many different shades.
I was working in school. You know, I could tell you 100 stories about working in the school system.
Right.
I was over in Savannah Grove in Florence, elementary school, doing murals. And it was just after recess, after lunch, the kids got to go out. And so I was in the hallway on my knees painting something on the wall. And out of the corner of my eye, I see a kid standing there. And so I said, "Don't you think you need to be in class?" Because everybody else had gone to class.
Right.
And I said, "Don't you think you really need to be in class?" And they not a word. So I just kept on painting for a little bit. Kid didn't move. So finally I said, "Look, you need to get to class." And I said, you're going to be tardy and you're going to be in trouble with your teachers if you don't go." And still nothing. Kid still stood there. So finally, I just kind of lost my temper. I turned around and I said, "Look." It was an upright vacuum cleaner.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah, I had to tell that on myself.
Yeah, if you don't know this about Barney, he has the most amazing sense of humor.
Oh, so I don't know about
y'all
that.
Should just come here to visit with him, just to talk with him and share some giggles, because he has a lot of wisdom and a lot of humor to share. His personality is just as amazing as his talent.
Well, when you get old, you got to laugh at yourself.
Yes, sir. I totally understand that.
All right, we're going to start putting in a little bit of detail here.
It's just amazing how it comes together so vividly on that black canvas. This is just blowing my mind.
Yeah,
I absolutely needed this inspiration today, so I thank you very much.
Oh, glad to anytime you'd like to come by and say hello. And
be careful what you ask for, because I will definitely be back to come hang out with you. This is something I've wanted to do for a long time. So I'm very honored to get to come meet you and kind of see your brain at work today.
I'm just setting the stage this right now. The magic comes in a minute. I'll show you.
Oh, wow.
I'll show you about the magic.
So, Barney, has your work changed a lot through the years?
Well, I can say it's gotten better.
Yeah.
Although sometimes I look back over the years and see work that I did 50 years ago, and it looks better than I did now.
But you've always done primarily like nature and that type of thing, scenery.
Well, I do portraits, animal portraits. I do people portraits when I have to. I'm not crazy about that part, but I do some portraits. Now, this is water. This is a pond, and I'm having to put in using vertical strokes. Okay, I got to put in where that group comes in there. A little bit here and a little bit there. And this is the fun of doing painting, is creating something that works well for you. Okay, let's switch over, and I'm using some different shades, some burnt umber and some Payne's gray. And let's create this little path or road. It goes off into the distance. This paint is so good. Okay. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute.
Absolutely. Well, you just make it
So-
look so effortless. I can see you, like I said before, you've already painted this. You had that vision, just like when you sketched it out on the canvas. You know, it's like you foresaw exactly what you were going to do before you got there.
Yeah, I kind of get an idea in my mind, and I think people say, well, how do you paint so fast? I don't have to stop and think about what I'm going to do
Right,
next.
right.
I know what I got to do next.
Well, 68 years of experience, I think,
Yeah, so
gives
you
you some
find your
extra
dark spots
superpowers.
in there, and you put
That
with
is just
limbs and
awesome.
stuff.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes you'll have to put one in the foreground that goes all the way up. Maybe put a mate to it,
Oh, my goodness.
and then you put
That is amazing how that just changes everything.
and make sure you don't get too much of a pattern. Now, the splotches in the sky, you got to do something about them too. So let's cut through, put a few splotches. That would be dark trees coming up. Okay, keep going with this idea, except let's make it a little bit darker. This is really fun. I really, I recently had to do a 3 foot by 5 foot painting of a local golf course, 18th hole, Caledonia golf course.
Oh, Caledonia is so beautiful.
Yeah, and I had to do from the 18th fairway, the 18th tee box over to the clubhouse at sunset, and I was dreading it. I really was. I had to go and take pictures and so forth, and so I went over and took the pictures, and I had to get piece of cameras actually custom made for me, and so when I started on it, I said, "Good grief, this is going to be tough." But once I got into it, I just couldn't put the brush down. I just kept just kept painting and
Oh,
painting.
I can just imagine how inspired you were when you sat there to
Let's
get it started. And once you got it started, I mean, what a beautiful piece of scenery to get to draw from.
Yeah.
And using your expertise. So is it hanging in the clubhouse?
No, it's actually waiting on a guy to come in August to pick it up.
Oh, it was a private.
I got the order. I was eating breakfast one morning on Friday morning at 7:30 in the morning. Got a phone call from a guy in New York, and he said, I've got a couple of your pieces of work, and he said, I got a little job I want you to do. Well, it didn't turn out to be a little job. It turned out to be
Right.
a major job. So it was fun to do. I just couldn't stop doing it. It was just something I just kept wanting to do. Let me pick up a little bit of black. I'm using liquid acrylics, which comes in tubes. You can get the ketchup bottles, and you can squeeze out that much paint.
Without less waste.
Sometimes it stops up too. Yeah, it will happen to stop up. Excuse me just a moment while I poke this out. Okay.
So, Barney, tell me a little bit about what you would consider your particular style of art. I know that when I look at your photos, I always admire the photorealism. Well, how would you actually describe your style?
Take an ordinary scene and make it extraordinary on canvas.
I love that.
I like to take regular, everyday things. My style is more realistic.
Yes,
And
that would
I
be
do
great.
try to, I like to create atmospheres and parts of the day, like the late afternoon with the shadows going across the
Right,
lawn or
right.
something like that. And it's just um, over the years I have developed, and every artist, and you know about it yourself, every artist has their own style, and they develop it over years. And when I was teaching, I told my students, I don't want you to paint like me. I want you to paint like you. And
Oh, I love
when I
that.
started seeing those style coming out of them, I was greatly encouraged by that. It was really wonderful to see that they finally getting their own style and not having to copy me so much. You can put all kinds of detail in here.
Yeah, you can absolutely feel the warmth of the sun beaming down on those trees. I just love how you pronounce all of that lighting. So I know you said you were encouraged by a teacher and your grandmother. They encouraged you a lot growing up, but did you not have an actual formal training in art to have? Are you self-taught?
Well, I grew up with a very poor family. There were six of us kids,
Wow, big family.
and we just did not have the money to send me to college. Had one of us gone to college, it would have wrecked the family budget. Actually,
Right,
we were.
right.
In fact, I like to tell people that we were so poor that on Thanksgiving, Mama set us around the kitchen table and read recipes out of the cookbook.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
Yeah, I really enjoy painting. Um, I'm in my own world when I paint, um, and every artist, should accept their style and promote it and work on it and develop it.
And once you find your style, boy, is it encouraging every day to want to try new things, isn't it?
Yes, it is very encouraging. Okay, now we haven't done the magic yet. The magic comes last.
It all seems like magic to me, Barney. Just absolutely amazing. So, is this the only gallery in town that you sell your work?
Currently.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Put a little texture in the foreground here.
So, did you ever read a lot of like books, perhaps on?
Actually, no. When I took art in high school, I was actually bored. I was actually bored, and I just weren't. Most of it was the Renaissance, and
It was not your thing,
we didn't even start color until the 12th grade.
right?
Yeah, so it was kind of a tough.
So, you're truly inspired by the things that um, you find just beautiful in life, the
Yeah,
beauty that's all around you
yeah,
every day, and
that's exactly right.
right.
And the thing about it, and taught this to all my students. I told them, I said, once you take one of my classes, you will never see the world in the same
Oh,
eyes
right.
because you train yourself, and you can't turn it off. You train yourself to for light on items. You look for texture. You look for color. You look for shape, sizes, everything. Perspective. I've never, even watching TV, I studied the tones of color on people's faces and how I could paint that and what is dark and what's light and silhouettes. And every tree I see is a different texture,
Right.
and I want to paint it all the time. So I'm gonna get out my wife's toothbrush and we're gonna sprinkle a little bit here splatter, as it's called. Put a few little rocks in the road.
Oh,
And you
wow. How
always,
cool is that?
and we use a little bit of white. And you always do it here first. Not too much water. All right, and you splatter your road. Then you come back and wipe off where you don't want to.
Oh, it dries fast, that liquid acrylic, huh?
Yeah, it dries too fast sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, I always like to do a little life in here. Now, I haven't done the magic yet. I always like to do a little bit of life in here. Let's take put an egret over here, waiting on a minute. Got to use these small brushes for this. And since it's so far away, you really don't have to do much detail.
Wow.
And then you have to do it in the water too, but it's got to be different.
That is absolutely gorgeous.
And you can kind of smudge it down a little bit. Okay, here comes the magic.
All right. I've been waiting. Like I said before, it's all been magic to me. So.
Okay, what I'm going to do is called volumetric lighting. And you got to have a good clean towel for this. And I'm going to scare you to death.
All right. Let's see. What? you're, you're absolutely right.
This is called volumetric lighting.
Wow.
Which is just sunbeams.
Wow. Now that is absolute magic for sure.
And you always rub in the direction of
the way the sun.
That's the reason I lit all of this up and left that in the dark.
Oh my goodness, you are right. That is some pure magic.
And you can go back and take a little bit of this Payne's gray and work it in, darken this up and underneath here, just to separate it from the grass area. You don't have to go back over that anymore. I'm using a little bit of black. A lot of people don't, a lot of art teachers say don't use black, make your own. And I kind of go along with that too, but there are times when black is necessary.
Absolutely. I mean, especially when you focus on so much of the lighting and the way that the lighting has come from. You need the dark to.
Black is the absence of all color. White is the presence of all color.
Right.
And to prove that, when white light hits a prism, it splits into a rainbow. That's how you tell it's that way. Okay. Let me get a rigger here, which is this little tiny brush.
That's teeny tiny.
Yeah, I've got some at home. I do some little miniature paintings.
Yes, sir.
And I use, I've got some that you can actually count the hairs.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
If you had a tagline that represented you and your art, what would that be?
I like to consider myself a visual ambassador of South Carolina.
Oh, I love that.
I love my state. And I've lived in the mountains, I've lived in the Midlands, and I've lived on the coast. So I know the state. And when I was doing murals in schools, I went through every pig path and down country road and everything.
Right.
25,000 miles a year I drove in the state just doing murals. So I know the state. I've met some of the most wonderful people in all three areas, all across the state. And, but I would like to be remembered as a visual, ambassador of South.
Absolutely. I don't see any reason why anybody would consider you anything but, to be honest with you.
But
your passion shows in your work, and it's just outstanding. I'm sure you'll continue to be a
role
model.
Put a little bit of clouds in here. Sometimes you got to use your finger to.
Wow.
Just to give it a little bit of.
It's just perfection. Wow.
And then you got to reflect it. Okay, let's put a little bit of surface on the water and we will be done. You want a razor sharp edge. You want that real sharp edge. And do a little bit of white and blue. And flatten it out. Okay. This is when the little breezes come along and kiss the surface a little bit. Got to be very delicate about it. So what I'm doing is putting a surface on the water.
It really does pull it out. It makes it look 3D. Now you can really see that surface. Wow.
And you don't really need to do much. But the sunlight's hitting here, and of course it's brightening. And anytime you go in the distance, and I'll tell you, if you're looking across a field, where you are, there's hundreds and thousands of colors, browns and greens and yellows and everything. But as you look across this field, they all meld into one color. And the same thing with water. If you look across, the water may be brown or green or whatever. When it goes across, it becomes one color. So I'm going to put my name on it, and I always sign down in the bottom right-hand corner, right here. How do you spell my name again? You got to do it. I've got some brushes. I can sign my name 1/64 of an inch high.
I know. I'm actually going to say I'm very impressed with how it's small.
And you can read every letter. But it's all in the brush stroke.
That's a sign of a true professional.
And I tell my students, if you do a piece of artwork, and a lot of them put their initials, well, nobody knows who you are by your initials. I have to laugh because my initials is BS, and that says a lot about me sometimes. But anyway,
love it.
Let's put another little bird in the sky while I got the dark color. Could be an old vulture flying around. But anyhow, I tell them, don't put an initial. If you're proud of the piece, put your name on it. If you're not, you don't want it on the market. You don't want to put it out in nature. So every piece, I am I'm my worst critic. If I have painted paintings and spent hours on them, come in the next morning, looked at them, and painted over them because I did not.
Are you serious?
They were not the quality of work that I want to be known for.
Right.
Yeah. You cannot let that kind of work get out on the market.
Yeah, I can totally relate with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, well, this has been fun.
Yeah, that is absolutely stunning.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed this very much. Like I said, this was an absolute honor for me, and you guys should definitely come down to the
And
island
you get to
outdoor.
take it home.
Oh, are you serious? Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Wow, thank you so much.
You saw it painted, you get to keep it.
I promise you I will treasure this for the rest of my life. And when we get off camera, I'm going to get a big old hug. Well, Barney Slice, you are truly a visual ambassador for South Carolina. Please come down to the Island Art Gallery here in Pawleys Island in the Village Shops, and you can meet Barney yourself and enjoy his company and his beautiful artwork on Fridays.
Come have fun with me.